Hey everybody, it's your old pal Steve Moore here, owner of Run More out in Westminster, Maryland, a brick and mortar running shop. Today we're talking about the New Balance 860 version 14 that came out in May-ish of 2024. I say May-ish because I think this shoe is technically supposed to launch in June, but we kind of got them at the end of April, and we're starting to see them slowly creep into the marketplace now. So we were excited to actually have them and be able to pop them on and play with them before doing an official review on them. So here we go. This is a very big update from a shoe that a lot of people are familiar with. This is sort of like the Cadillac of stability and cushion in the New Balance family. I've been carrying New Balance for a long time at the shop, and even for a while, this shoe wasn't even allowed to be listed online. This was an in-store only model from New Balance. When we first started carrying this model, you weren't even allowed to pick it up at Dick's. It really kind of showed how much this shoe meant to them, and they're like, we don't want this just to be another New Balance shoe, and especially as a brand that, right or wrong, was mocked for that long period of time of being like your old man white New Balance leather shoe that you could pick up at Costco. It's hilarious. Like, my dad would rock around in the old man white New Balance shoe that you'd pick up for $30 at Costco. Not hating on it, but that is like the breadth of product that New Balance has, from like the premium to like the kind of the cheapy down there. And this shoe was always held in such high regard that they didn't want it to be devalued and listed all over and on Amazon. So they truly protected this shoe for a long time. The last couple of years, it's kind of opened up, and now we can sell it online and it's a little more readily available, but it's still like a really big part of their overall shoe business is the 860, specifically in run specialty. What we had kind of seen for a while and here in the shop is like New Balance sort of falling behind some of the other big brands that you sort of think of when you think of those heritage Cadillac brands. They really kind of were getting stale. Like, a lot of their stuff was so similar to what it had been before that a lot of other brands were coming up with new technology and they were sort of getting past. And really, just honestly, in 2024, we're now starting to see a rollout of stuff from New Balance that has excited not only our shop, but our customers and the overall running marketplace out there. So this is a big shoe for them, and it has some big updates to it. And real quick, before we get into all the big updates, if you're finding this video exciting and helpful, do me a solid and like and subscribe to our channel. It's a really free, easy way to help us find new people out there. So back to our exciting review. A couple of things have really changed on this shoe that actually, interestingly enough, I think this shoe is going to be sold more in here, but I think the customer base that I'll pull this for is actually smaller. So kind of a weird thing there. But the old 860, I'm gonna hold up the old 860 here, version 13. This shoe had a little bit of lateral support to it. Not a ton, but if you were somebody who supinated just a little bit, there was just a little extra beef here to protect you a little bit. So really great for somebody who overpronates rolling on the inside, but if you're somebody who went to the outside just a little bit, the old 860 gave you some support here. They've done away with that. They've made this shoe really just specific for somebody who's rolling to the inside of their foot. Really, they've beefed it up. They've changed even the way they do stability with this plate that runs through the shoe. We've seen that in other New Balance shoes, specifically in the Vongo, which is another stability shoe from New Balance, but they've incorporated it into the 860. So now we're going away from like having some posting and all the different plastic pieces and such on the medial side. We have this nice plate that runs through it. One of the interesting things that we noticed here at the shop is it's sort of built on a slant, which is one of the reasons why this shoe is not going to help you if you're somebody supinating out. It's going to actually force you further that way. It's going to exacerbate whatever you got doing on the lateral side. So they've really increased the amount of support on the medial side, running all the way up and not just like a center posted side. So if you're sort of a late stage overpronator, you'll get guidance all the way through on this side with the plate that runs into it. And the fact that it's on a bit of a slant gives you just a little bit more protection that way. So honestly, if you're somebody who's dead neutral or slightly to the outside, this isn't going to be the best shoe for you. But most of the people that we find that, especially in that 860, that are used to that stability, really do much more on the medial side damage to it. Other big change on this is they've changed the drop to it. So it used to be a 10 millimeter drop, and now they've lowered it just a little bit to 8. And as I've mentioned, a lot of my videos, I will walk around for a while in two different of the same model, different years, to kind of feel the difference. And it's, again, it seems so slight, but really a nice change from a 10 to an 8. Just hearing how the shoe performs in the shop, like hearing the clunkiness of the old version, and this one has just a little more glidey to it, and it feels a little bit higher stack height to it. We were trying to find some specs on it, but we couldn't find any good hard details without us kind of getting too involved in the shoe here, and I didn't want to speculate, but you can just tell that this shoe has a little bit more stack height to it and a little lower drop, causing it just a nice glidey feel. And without having so much sort of beefy plastic pieces for the support to it, it doesn't make as much noise. The other thing I will tell you right out of the gate, and standing in both these shoes, this shoe fits much wider. You know, that was the other thing for a while in the 860. It felt like the shoe was getting smaller and shorter, and we sort of were having that for a while with Asics. It felt like things were getting smaller and narrower and shorter, and people would come in and they would say, I always wear New Balance because it accommodates the width on my foot. But in reality, we were having to pull people that were standard into wides and wides into extra wides to kind of make that work for them. No more. Honestly, this shoe fits much wider than it did before. It holds my foot in a better place. It does have a nice gusseted tongue. It wraps your foot nicely. This new upper is much more breathable. So a really nice update to this shoe. And honestly, you know, I think about this shoe as like the informed professional shoe as well, because obviously we're a run shop. We sell a lot of running shoes, 860. A lot of people running it. Blah blah blah. It's our most popular professional New Balance shoe, and I call this sort of the shoe in the know. Is that like if you walk around Lowe's, you walk around Target, you walk around the grocery store, and you'll see people in a lot of shoes, and it's really hard to not be, I don't want to say judgmental in like a cost way, but judgmental in like, is that person wearing the right shoe for their job? So if I'm walking around Lowe's and I see somebody in like a super minimal pair of New Balance shoes, I'm like, it might not be the right shoe for you. Or somebody who's severely supinating, who's wearing a shoe that's gonna make them supinate more. When I see people walking around professional in a pair of 860s, I'm like, they did their research. This is our most popular shoe from New Balance that people use for work. They're using it for just walking around, not just using it for running. So seeing some stuff on their colors that are a little bit less like stuff going on that people can wear with like just a pair of jeans and maybe wear professionally, I think is better. Obviously the width is better, giving more people an option to do it, and it just breathes a little bit better. Honestly, just a really nice update to this shoe. They've kept the price at $140. You're gonna get a lot of mileage out of this shoe. You're gonna get plenty of stability if you're somebody who rolls on the inside. Just a really nice update that still has that New Balance feel, and because it has their Fresh Foam X midsole to it, it has some responsiveness to it as well. Like there's no reason why you couldn't be somebody who runs in this shoe, gets a lot of great miles into it, and retires this shoe to become like a really good, stable, everyday walking shoe. That's a nice thing that you can do with the shoe. And some of those shoes, they don't necessarily translate that well into both applications. So the new 860 version 14 comes out in May-ish of 2024. And we'll have a link down below if you want to purchase this fine product. And if you enter promo code RUNMORE, just RUNMOORE, you'll save 10% and we'll ship it out for free. Thanks for watching. Happy running. Happy everything. We'll see you around town.